Hello, everybody. It is dawn. It is January the 8th at 11:49 a.m. Here to share a little bit of what I've been receiving about this next 3-day period, January 9th through January 11th. If you have followed me, you kind of know that sometimes I have impressions or insights around particular passages or time periods, and how there can be a potency to particular sequencing in terms of particular days, weeks, years, decades, millennia. And in this case, I was shown, back in December, I think it was around December 12th, roughly, this 3 days of January 9th through the 11th. So I don't have a lot of details, but I thought I'd just turn on the camera and share as it is the day before. So I'm at the last minute here. So I'm just trusting that what is meant to will come through in this soul share from me. Did I say Happy New Year? Happy New Year, if it did not. And this year, 2026, we're moving into the anchoring of the last of the two seven wonders of the soul, which are passion and beauty. And just a little refresher, like that, the seven wonders of the soul: faith, hope, love, healing, growth, passion, beauty. 2020 was the year of faith. So if that gives you a little indication of how this works, usually we see the opposite mirrored. So in that case, fear and faith, hope, love. And so we are in 2026. I always have to do this on my fingers, sorry. So it's faith, hope, love, healing, growth, passion, beauty, 7. So yes, we are really moving into the anchoring of passion and beauty. So to get to beauty, there's some sequential to the 7 wonders of the soul. And to get to beauty, we have to embody our passion. So this 3 days, the 9th through the 11th, what I was really shown is this is really about gathering your energy and then rising up as the pillar of truth that you are and that you have come to share. And this requires a letting go and a surrendering of all that is not in alignment with that. And this can be, of course, very challenging. And during this time, those of us who are called to rise as the pillars of truth that we are will no doubt encounter a reflection or a mirror of anything that might be standing in our way to do so. This has been occurring all along, of course, and this window here of the 9th through the 11th is particularly potent in that regard. So the first thing that struck me back when I was kind of given this, and I can't find my notes, I did write a whole paragraph about this, so I'm hoping that everything that I wrote will come through. I don't recall though, and I don't have those notes. But the first thing that struck me, particularly given my background and my own perspective, were the numbers 911, 9/11, and not just the event of 9/11 or whatever you think that was. I see it as a rupture in the cosmic realms. And again, doesn't matter what you believe about what happened on that day. It was energetically significant for our world, for the earth, for the people of the earth, including me, including you. And so those numbers jumped out at me, and I'm sure that there are many significances to that number sequence. It also reminded me of the completions and the beginnings, the 9 and the 1, and then the 10 reduced to a 1. And the 9th of January in a 1 year of 2026, 911. The 9th, 10th, and 11th of January are also significant in my own journey. I think I will just not go into the details of that at the moment. But what I do want to say is I was shown how this window is an opportunity for us to honor the journey that we've made, release what no longer serves, stand in our power, and begin to move forward and emerge. It reminds me of a painting that I did many years ago. I think it was called Emergence. If I can find it, I'll stick it on the screen. And it also, the other thing that's been coming up is this idea of receiving cosmic support to be that pillar, to stand strong, and to move forward into the wholeness and the fullness of who we are, who we've come to be, and the singularly magnificent essential truth that we carry. Your essential self, your essential journey, your essential truth, the light, the life, the love you are, the ways that you have awakened the world within you, the ways that you have and are finding your forward flow, and the ways that you have and are embracing a new vision for the nexus of change. This is what this period is about. This is the anchoring of the new. It's a pivot point, but it's more than that. It is the anchoring of a whole more embodied way of being in the world. It relates a lot to when I have in the past talked about the importance of immanence, IMMANENCE. I think I spelled that correctly. I'm getting old, but not transcendence. Yes, there is a transcendent experience, and to get to that transcendent experience that we are all meant to enjoy and from which we are meant to expand radiantly, we must allow for the full embodiment of the restoration of the true stream that we may have put aside, pushed away, not acknowledged, devalued, or in any other way, not allowed. It really comes down to allowing. It really does. I'll give a personal example in the event that it might help, because I know that this can sound very ambiguous and very abstract. And part of that is, okay, here's what I'm about to tell you. It very much relates to this. You've heard me say, if you watch my videos, like, oh my gosh, I'm not a teacher. I'm not a teacher. Why am I being asked to do this? I'm not a teacher. And I have seen it in a particular way. And that way is that, for me, that there were intended to be supporters and or a particular partner, not just a love partner, but a partner in my soul mission, who was going to be able to be that equal pillar, if you will, who could translate essentially and assist me with whether in an individual or a group, assist me with the containment of something that is pretty huge. And I think that's true of all of us who are on this spiritual path, spiritual journey. By the way, distractions occurring outside the window. No, thank you. And there have been junctures, points along our own progression toward the full reclamation, the radical reclamation of the whole of who we are, which is necessary in order for the radiant realization to occur. In order for the transcendent radiance to be fully experienced here and now in this reality, in the new earth that we are moving into, there must be, first, that you can call it by a lot of names: healing, integration, grounding, reconciliation, restoration, all of which must harness the energies that we have allowed to be siphoned off. We have given to things of a lesser nature, such as what is outside my window right now as I record this. No, such as what is on my computer right now as I record this. So the invitation in these next 3 days is to shift, ironically, given it's the 9th through the 11th, 911, to shift from this idea of emergency that we see mirrored all around us, outside my window, on my computer screen that's going black and doing weird things, in the world. I'm sure, I haven't checked into the news in a day and a half, but I'm quite sure there's something new that has occurred, is occurring, will occur. We've got to focus finally on the flow and the emergence and the calm anchoring of who we are and what gifts we have to share. You may not know the details of that, so which brings me to giving you a personal example. I'm not going to go into all the details in this video, but I probably will share in the future, so you can follow me here or wherever I end up. I don't know. I keep debating about new channel or this channel because obviously talk about interference, like, it's been messed with, but energetically and practically. But what I want to say is for the empowered emergence to occur, there must be a recognition of those patterns that are disruptive, those lesser ways of being, those habits and routines that are not aligned. They cannot go forward. After January the 11th, 2026, that is 111 or 1111, however you want to look at it, it's a restart period. It's a restart moment. It's a shift. Now, the larger pivot will come, I think, in mid-February to spring equinox time in the northern hemisphere. So late February to March, that month will be very significant. But January the 11th begins that movement into whatever is next. And I do not think, personally, I do not believe that has been fully determined yet. It is incumbent upon each one of us to ensure that we show up as who we are to the best of our ability, that we bring forgiveness where we do not, self-forgiveness first, and extend that forgiveness to others, that we allow everything that has been to this point and what is occurring right now to fall away. If it does not serve, allow it to fall away. So that's really what this next 3-day passage is about. I also wanted to, I didn't follow through on what I said I was going to do. I wanted to reference, so like as an example, when I was very young, 3, the first time I remember logically thinking about it, but I actually think I carried it younger than that. I've written about what occurred for me. It was pretty dramatic in terms of my early childhood and really, up till age 30. A lot of chaos, a lot of what appeared to be, and what in some cases was, internal fragmentation. But the reason that was occurring was my identification with things that were not me, the not self that I really latched onto. So from the time I was 3 or before, my soul knew why I was here. I could see most of it. I couldn't explain logically, but I was certainly talking about it, and it was certainly shut down. And there was a true stream, a purity, an innocence that ran through me. It has survived. It has always been there. But as I grew older through the years, I did become quite convinced that it was not something I should give my attention to. My own soul's truth and radiance, my star power, was something I should set aside and cast aside. Now, no one person did this. Actually, I would say that even the people who did participated in it were not aware of what they were doing. It was not them deciding, shut her down, shut her down. And in a few cases it was later in my life. But by and large, it was an unawareness, an unhealed place that those individuals and groups and entire systems were reacting to, because they felt to keep themselves or the system safe, you had to shut down somebody who seemingly was operating outside as a free radical. But so from the time I was a young child, I was unbothered in the beginning about, I actually always have been unbothered about, like, personally, like, I always knew God and the angels would take care of me. And so I always had a very clear picture of my purpose or mission, which was related to a specific area of life and a reclamation of and a restoration of what had been watered down or lost through the years. And yet, as I said, I was convinced that, not internally, but that externally, no, you can't do that. Look what happened when you did that. Look what happened. And people were right. Those things did happen. Those things are happening. And the opportunity for me, and, this goes back to, like, for me in, I think it was like 2011, 2012, when I started, like, no, I'm going to, everything in my own environment is going to be true in terms of my own space. And I followed through on that. And then around 2016, when I finally consented to walk through the door that God once again opened for me and did a particular thing, went to a particular place, experienced a particular thing, then it was like, okay, I will allow this, and I will allow this mission to be expressed in this way. And I had some parameters. Guess what the 9th through the 11th is? It is a reconsideration for all of us. We all have free will. We can all set those parameters, should we choose to. We can also allow ourselves to be moved forward as we embody the fullness of who we are, and to trust that we will be strengthened, protected, held, and honored as we share, as we show up in every moment the best way we know how. And it's not about one big mission. So in my case, it's not necessarily about, oh, do I check off the 25 million things that would have to happen for this thing that seems utterly impossible in this reality. No, it's not about that. It's simply about the embodiment of that truth, the holding of that truth, of your star power, of your soul's truth and radiance, of your essential self, your essential story, your essential truth, of the light and the life and the love you are. It's about embodiment first. And for that embodiment to occur on the scale that it's meant to, will require devotion, love, forgiveness, and humility, and a graciousness, an allowing of the gracious flow of spirit to work through you, in you, for you during this 3-day period of January 9th through the 11th. It remains to be seen how things will unfold in our world. There is always room for miracle, and that miracle can occur through a variety of means. In the blinking of an eye. And that miracle occurs most frequently when you acknowledge the miracle that you are. You are a miracle. Your journey, your soul's journey in this lifetime is a miracle. Your soul's journey in this day, in this hour, is a miracle. And as you allow yourself to hold that miracle, and then as your capacity grows to expand your holding to others around you, your community, your home, your community, our world, the cosmos, and as you allow yourself to see that you are not merely one lone tower, not one lone voice in the wilderness, not one lone not one lone there's something I'm trying to get here. Not one star in the sky. The many, many, many stars are connected to many, many, many constellations, are connected to many, many galaxies, to an infinite capacity for mystery made manifest, for miracle to occur, to emerge in this time. So back to my own specific calling, and a calling, relate this to what your soul knows. And if you don't know, ask to be shown, and you will be shown. One thing that's become really clear for me in the last month, I would say, is, so it's 12:12 on the clock right now, is that in this time of completion, that is a beginning again, the seed of that dream that you may have had, or that vision, or this understanding of your mission or purpose, that seed can feel like it's lain, is that the word, laid dormant for eons or for many years. Let's just take this lifetime as an example. That seed, that vision I have, again, seems utterly impossible, even had I had, or do I have, or will I have the support, the partnership of those other pillars moving in and out. And this is true for you too. Your individual soul's mission is no less important. We are all equal contributors to this garden, this whole gardening practice that we're being called to right now. Before the garden shows up, before the full understanding of what that is appears, we have to till the earth. We have to prepare the ground of our being. We have to show up and know that we are creating that new internal agrarian society that the book Cultivating Essence from the Matrix of Soul speaks about in the introduction. This is the time. It's been the time, and it will always be the time for this to be occurring. So if you're watching this video in the future, if you had this idea 40 years ago, congrats, I'm just getting there. And I think that's what I'm saying is that seed. So in my case, I have my vision of that seed that I saw when I was a little girl, and that I think that I probably came into this life and many other lifetimes with. And that seed I've been holding, and yet it seems that all is lost. All is lost. It seems that the way I saw it did not happen. The person and people and groups that I saw as being the collaborative effort that would bring about this thing that was the vision fell away. In some cases, stabbed my back. In some cases, completely wrecked what little I was able to share. This is my perception. And so the seed, I can look at that seed and think it has no life. I wish it had life, but it doesn't have life. And yet there is room for the miracle, because what I've realized, and again, all these little pivot points along the way, the awakening that really started. Well, it was an allowing of allowing to anchor in the awakening in my case, because it'd been like I was like shut down all my life, my own internal awakening. And there are all these pivot points. There was that, the 2000, for me, 11 to 14, 15, moved to Ireland and on my 50th birthday. So January of 2015. And then France in 2016 was that was a pivotal decision point for me. No, everything did not happen the way that I, wanted it to, and that I, in my heart and mind, feel that it was meant to, but there just wasn't that capacity. There wasn't the ability to be held and hold. And yet there is life in that seed. Even the seeds that have been eradicated, that the seeds that I planted, for example, the truth is they appear to have been eradicated, but it is alive within you. So this is the question: what story of life is alive in you? That essentially is what all of my art and my expressions are about. It is about reconnecting you to the whole of who you are, to the light and the life and the love that you are. And so the question becomes not what did you think that seed would look like or how you thought it would come about, but it is to breathe life into the story of life that is alive somewhere deep within you, to reconnect to that star power, to light it up, to come to life and live in full expression, to show up, to show up, to show up. And in some sense, I feel like in my journey, and I know many of you will feel like I've been doing that. I've been doing that, and this is the attitude. I've been doing that, and I've been doing that, and wait and see.